Hello, beautiful souls. I hope we're all doing super well today. Happy Twin Flame Tuesday. So let's see what's going on then for the Divine Masculine energies and the Divine Feminine energies. We're going to be looking at heart space, mental space and physical space for both the masculine and feminine energies. And as I've said before, this reading can be viewed as looking at the divine masculine and divine feminine energies within oneself, as well as the twin flame dynamic, because they are one and the same thing. Everything happens within before it happens without. So this reading will be a very good indication as to what's going on with the energies within yourself, as well as the energies within your twin flame dynamic. So let's dive straight in. Let's see what's going on within the divine masculine's heart space. We're looking at nearly threw a card on the floor. We're looking at the divine masculine energy first. I'm trashing the place. We're looking at the divine masculine energy first because, again, as I have said multiple times before, since the Great Conjunction back in December of last year, the twin flame dynamic has kind of done a little switcheroo, and now the divine masculine collective is leading the feminine collective. So we'll start with the masculine. So within heart space, we've got full moon completion. Beautiful. So something's come to completion within the divine masculine's heart space. He's feeling fulfilled in something. The energy's come to a close. It's ended its cycle, and a new cycle cannot begin until the old one has reached completion. So this is very good news. Let's dig in a little bit more and see what else we got here. Let's have a look at the Starseed Oracle. Oh. The last reading I was doing the exact same thing, and I was throwing all the cards on the floor. I'm going to try and sit a little bit closer so that doesn't happen, hopefully. What else have we got within the divine masculine heart space? Okay, it's not time for this deck. Let's have a look at, no, let's not. Let's look at this one. Let's see. Often have to go through different decks before we find the right one. Yes. Okay, this is the one. So we have the Ringmaster. I'll start that again. The Ringmaster of Scrutiny, Discernment, Clear Vision and Details. Right, so this full moon completion energy has brought clarity to the divine masculine. Heart space is where the emotional center lies. This is also where desire comes from. So the masculine's been, regardless as to what he's been doing, actually, past doesn't matter, right? Past is the past. Where he's at now, he has clarity. He has this clear vision within his heart space. So I'd say that his emotions are quite clear to him right now. This doesn't necessarily mean that it's conscious, right? This is just the truth of what's going on within that area. Mental space looks more at what is sorry, I've just got distracted by the sun is shining. I've just glanced out the window and it's just started to snow. We've been having the craziest weather just lately. Like the other day it was brilliant sunshine, like a hot summer's day, and then by the afternoon was a full-on blizzard. It was crazy, and it looks like the same thing's happening today. Sorry, that that really distracted me. Yes, the divine masculine, like I say, within mental space, which we'll look at in a moment, that speaks to more what's going on that's conscious. So this may be conscious, it may not be, but we can see the root of what is conscious from looking at heart space first, which is why we do it in this order. So he's it's hard to say like he's looking at this, or like I'm not sure how to word it because we don't know if this is conscious or not. It will depend on the individual. But generally speaking, there is the clarity that has come as a result of closing something up, like finishing it off, rounding it off. Maybe not closing. Closing it up is the wrong words to use. So I feel that there's been some purge. There's been a lot of release energy here. He's let go of something, like he's closed a chapter to his life, like he's just sort of drawn a line under the past, and there's some, you know, very important clarity that's come from that. So let's dip into another deck and see what else we've got here. Right? Okay, this just confirms exactly what I've just said. So we've got weight of the world, boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. So that's the clarity then, right? He has, sorry you can't see that very well because the sun's really bright despite the fact that it's snowing. Insane. Absolutely insane. The world's gone mad. We already knew this. He's released something, right? It's all the same, right? He's released something, and I think he realised that this was not something that was serving him anymore. So he's just released it. So let's see if there's anything else. Actually, let's hop into. Oh, I don't have enough room. Let's dip into the Cosmic Cloud Oracle. Oh. Adventure. This is an air card, an air sign card. So I'm feeling, you know, there's balance going on here. There's a lot of balance and freedom that's come with the clarity as well. Let's move this over a little bit so we can see it all. There's like balance and fresh ideas coming through, and thought. So I feel, I mean, obviously we're we're talking about heart space here. So I feel that it's almost like this big sigh is coming from the masculine's heart. It's like this, right, now I can think clearly, now I can see clearly, now I can desire freely, now I can do all of these things. The heart space was just kind of choked up before, with all manner of stuff that just no longer served. So the masculine's in a really healthy spot here. He's at the beginning of a cycle because he's at the end of the old one, right? The new cycle, as I say, you know, can't begin until the old one ends, and it has here. So let's see what's going on with the feminine then. What's the feminine's heart space looking like? Nearly threw that one on the floor again. Okay, we have clouds, shape-shifting. So there's some processes being worked out here. There's change, right? The energy is really changing for the feminine. So let's get some more information. Oh God, that nearly flew across the room. The Rainbow Prince. Compensation, perseverance. Look at that beautiful rainbow and this angel. You see he's got these wings here. He's also seemingly in space, right? This looks like Earth. Just realised how awful my nails look. the earth is here behind him, so he's like, we can say he's in the astral realm, right? I feel I don't know wholly why I've just pointed all of those details out for the imagery there. I think that may speak to, you know, certain individuals. But the rainbow kind of represents what's the right word? It's like harmony, trust, guidance, divine guidance. I feel that the feminine's starting to really trust herself a bit more. She's trusting her heart space. I mean, we've seen over the last couple of weeks a lot of purge going on, and evidence of that there was work that she needed to do that perhaps she wasn't previously aware of. And I feel that that's really starting to settle in now. She's starting to trust what's going on in her heart. She's starting to trust how she feels a little bit more, and not being so blinkered in what she was focusing on. I think last week, I mean, if you didn't see the Twin Flame Tuesday reading from last week, maybe this is your first Twin Flame Tuesday, in which case, welcome. But it might be worth looking at last week's video just to kind of get a grip on why we're seeing this now. Because obviously it's A leads to B leads to C and so on kind of thing. So it might bring a little bit more clarity. But we did see that the feminine was focusing on all kinds of things and not focusing so much on what needed to be done. And that was for a variety of reasons. She was unaware, she was in avoidance, you know, she didn't want to do the hard work, simply put. You know, that's not down to laziness, that's just kind of feeling a little apprehensive, knowing that there's a lot to be done, and like, oh, when am I going to start that? You know, it was for a multitude of reasons, depending on the individual. Obviously, this is a collective read, so it depends on the individual. Regardless as to why this work wasn't being done, it looks like it is now. I feel that her heart space is an acceptance that there are things that need to change. The object of her focus needs to change. Yes, we all want union, right, with our twin, but we need to recognize that we need to work on ourselves first, because, as I said at the very beginning of this reading, what we're looking at here is the divine masculine and divine feminine energy, full stop, right? You can view that as being within yourself or outside of yourself. It's the same thing, and everything starts from within. Everything starts from within, right? There won't be an outer world without an inner world. So when the feminine works on herself and the masculine works on himself, only then can union even be a twinkle in anyone's eye. Union can't happen if the two of them individually are a bit of a mess on the inside. They need to unite, like the individual needs to unite the masculine and feminine energy within themselves before it can unite in the physical reality. So this is what Spirit was getting at last week, was that the feminine was only doing half the work, and she was looking outside of herself. She wasn't looking inside of herself, which is what needs to be done. The masculine was only looking inside of himself and he wasn't looking outside. So there was an imbalance on both sides. But now we're seeing this realization going on for the masculine, and it's giving way to all of this freedom now within the heart space. The feminine is also experiencing a similar shift. So you see how they're both in unison, right? They're both doing they're both experiencing the same thing, but for a different set of reasons. So we can see that the union is possible here, right? Because they're both doing the work now. So let's keep going. Let's see what else we've got for the feminine within her heart space. Okay, we have perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out. Common ground. I'm sorry that's so out of focus. The light in here is really messing with my camera. I will be moving soon and I will have a much better lighting situation. So if we can just hang on for another couple of weeks, folks, We won't have this this problem with light waving in and out. So this perspective, you know, none of this matters. Common ground makes me feel that that's the gap between the masculine and the feminine is being bridged, not within the physical but energetically, which, as I say, is what needs to happen first before it can happen in the physical reality. And this perspective, right, none of this matters. I think prior, and even now lingering a little, for some divine feminines in particular, right, like individually. I know this is a collective read, but the collective is so vast, and in many ways the collective is, they're like little pockets of collective, right? So there's some people doing some things and others doing other things, and it's difficult to get a collective read these days, especially after the Great Conjunction where everyone's doing different things. So there are some individuals who are still in the mindset of fuck doing the work on myself, I just want to be with my masculine and that's it, because love conquers all, right? And they are in this, they're under the illusion that they were put here on this earth to realize that union and that love within the physical reality. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, but that's bullshit. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in union or not in this reality. You're here for you, and that's it. You're not here for somebody else. Your twin is your twin, regardless as to whether you're in human form or whether you're a little spirit floating around in the ether. You know, your twin's your twin. Nothing's going to change that. And I think there are some feminines here now who are starting to realise that. They're starting to understand that. They're starting to understand that they're here on this earth right now, playing the role of being human for their own purpose, for their own growth, and for their own benefit. It's not for the benefit of their twin. You know, it's not like you two souls, you two twins who were floating around in the galaxy, and you said to yourself, fancy a bit of a change. What do you think, honey? And then he says, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. And then she says, let's go on vacation. Oh, look, Earth. Earth's got an opening for there's two bodies available. Let's go and be a boy and a girl, and let's go and have a vacation on Earth and be human for a bit. And we can meet, and it'll be fun, and it'll be great. We'll fall in love. And he goes, yeah, that's a great idea, sweetie. Let's go do that, right? We're not here for a fucking love vacation, all right? This isn't like fucking sandals, right? You know, we're here to do way more important stuff than that, and it doesn't matter if we meet or we don't. But obviously, it's what we want, because we like love, we like the idea of love, and we enjoy it when we have it, and we like to experience it because it makes us feel all warm and cozy and fuzzy, and it boosts us, right? We amplify one another and our good traits and our bad traits, because we are each other's divine mirror. And this is what we need to realise, that union is not the be all and end all. You need to be doing the work on yourself, not because you want union, but because you want to do the work on yourself. It needs to stop there. And then union is just like this happy accident, right? It's just the reflection of what work you've done on yourself. And the feminine is starting to understand this, which is great news, because there are too many feminines up until this point who have been subservient. They've been in their energy, right? Just in their energy, where they've been doing things to please other people. They've been doing things in order to have union, in order to have their twin in their life. And they've been changing themselves, but for all the wrong reasons, right? I mean, I hope that you watching this and listening to all of this, you can see my point. That you're stronger, not necessarily like on your own single, but you're stronger on your own and within yourself, right? And then when your twin comes along, you've done the work on yourself, You're not changing yourself because you want to be accepted and because you want to hold on to them and you're afraid to lose them. You have this perspective that none of this matters. Therefore, you're fine with them and you're fine without them too. And that is the mindset that creates union, because there's no insecurity on either side. There's no fear of just truly being yourself and morphing and changing yourself to be the best version of yourself, that if he disagrees he might leave and therefore you don't do the work on yourself because you're afraid. There's none of that. There's none of that bullshit getting in the way, and your love can be so much more pure and simple and interchangeable in that manner. So I hope that makes sense. And interestingly, we have another air card. So the masculine's got adventure in his heart, the feminine's got awakening. And doesn't that echo everything I've just said? Right? She's really starting to realise the truth of this situation, the truth of what needs to be done, and the reasoning behind it. And she's really opening herself up to this. We're seeing this divine guidance being received, and it's for good. We've got this angel depicted here, right? I'm not personally, I'm not into like the Christian ideal of angels and stuff. I don't think any of that's really particularly accurate. But we can use the angel as like a symbol of guidance into good, right? Guidance into good behavior and good change and being the best version of ourselves. It's like positive guidance rather than negative guidance. And we're seeing that that it's being received. It's being received through the chakras, right? With the rainbow here, the feminine is receiving through the, like, from the inside out, which is exactly what needs to be done. And the fact that we've got such a similar spread going on here, especially with these two being from the same suit, they're both words that begin with A, right? They're both so similar that this shows me that the masculine and feminine energy, regardless as to whether it's inside or outside of yourself, is it's moving in unison, right? It's so deeply connected to one another. They're both doing the same thing at the same time, which is great news for those of you who do want union. So let's move into mental space. Let's see what's going on within mental space for the masculine. Oh, if only you guys could see my amazing shuffling skills right now. It's not pretty. Okay, so we've got meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces. How interesting. We have we're still in new moon in Aries energy. New moon in Aries, which moved into Taurus after a couple of hours, was yesterday. So there is a video. I did a reading for that, a collective reading for the new moon energies. If you haven't seen that, then I recommend going and watching that, perhaps after you finish this reading. Excuse me, because I think you'd find some useful information there that can shed some light on the twin flame dynamic. So we have new moon. Again, we're now in new moon Aries energy. Well, new moon Taurus technically energy now, because new moon Aries was yesterday. Although this is Pisces, right? So this speaks to emotion. It's a water sign, so it's emotion. It's divine feminine energy. Watery, it could even be talking about like crying, right? Purging through tears. Meditate and contemplate. So the masculine through this, because A leads to B leads to C, heart space leads to mental space leads to physical space, which we'll read last. You won't have the thought without its origin, right, which is the heart space, which is why we always do these readings in this order. But it seems that through this, what's going on in the heart space for the masculine with the heart, what am I saying? With what's going on in the heart space for the masculine with the clarity and the purge and the just getting rid of what no longer serves, and that completing a cycle with that full moon energy, he's the beginning of the next cycle, then new moon energy, right? He's in this meditative kind of mental state where he's inward, he's reflective, right? I feel that he's consciously aware as well, that he has some stuff to think about now, and it doesn't feel heavy. It still feels a little bit purgy with this water sign, coupled with the full moon over here. But because we're seeing this card as a new moon, and we're actually in new moon energy now, it feels very much like he's considering the future. He's thinking about things that he hasn't previously thought about. So it's like this purging kind of releasing, freeing kind of thought, where he's, like I say, he's considering the future. He's considering, well, what do I do now? Which is great. So let's keep going. Let's see what else is going on in there. Beautiful. The Fire Prince, optimism and aggression. Yep. So definitely we're thinking about the future here. The masculines, there's that Aries new moon energy there as well. I mean, definitely go and watch that reading if you haven't already, you guys, that came out yesterday for the new moon, because there's a lot of that energy here. Don't want my tea to go cold. A lot of it's new beginnings. This fire is God, what's the word? It's new ideas, it's creativity, it's desire. There's a lot of things sort of going on there's a lot of things in the works, right? It's not in the physical reality yet, it's all ideas and thought. The masculine's really thinking about what he's going to do now. He's totally let go of the past. I feel he's just not in the past at all anymore, and I think he was, over the last couple of weeks, he was still sort of contemplative and wondering, like, what does it all mean, and he was still sifting through the details of the past of certain situations. But now I feel like he's just drawn this line under it. He's just completed that phase. He knows it's not his burden to carry anymore. He's just moving on with his life now. And he's recognized this beautiful blank slate that he has now. So he's in this very calm, meditating, contemplating, but there's this fiery optimism behind it. Really beautiful. Let's dip into the Cosmic Cloud Oracle. Yeah, you knew it was coming. I knew you were waiting for it. But we only have a couple of weeks left. I mean you, you only have a couple of weeks left, right? Because this project is now completely in your hands, as the community goes. If you want one of your own Cosmic Cloud Oracle decks, this is currently the only one in existence. This is a deck that I made myself. It's bit of a shameless plug here, but follow the crowdfunder link in the description below if you want one of these decks for yourself. We've only got a couple of weeks. We need to hit the goal. If we don't hit the goal, the deck will not be made and no one will receive one, so no pressure, but it's totally in your hands now, you guys. Go and pledge We've got like literally, I say it's a couple of weeks, it's less than that. I think it's like, in fact, it might only be a week. I need to have a look. I think it's like 8 or 9 days left. So yeah, no pressure, but go pledge. Okay, so we have balance. We have another air card. So there's more ideas and thought. This is like, I'm struggling to articulate myself right now, but the tarot, in the tarot, the suit of swords is representative of the element of air. So we could say this is a swords card, right? So this is thought. And we're looking at mental space, and look, we've got all the same going on. Balance, so there's a lot of clarity, and the masculine, I feel, is he's just really positively and constructively thinking about all of these things, you know, having all of these ideas of what he wants to get up to in the future and what he wants to get up to now, what adventures he wants to have. And he's thinking about it in a very balanced way. That's not necessarily logically. I mean, he is masculine, so there will be a lot of logic going on because that's his job. The masculine has the logic, and the feminine has the creativity. Obviously you have the feminine and masculine energies within yourself as an individual, so you still have a little bit of both, but whichever you are, masculine or feminine, within your soul center, you're going to have just a teaspoon more of, you know, whatever that trait is. So for the masculines, you're going to have a teaspoon more of logic than the feminines will. Having said all of that, right, I feel that this balance is more speaking to less so logic, but more methodical, right? I feel like he's not going like crazy over like, oh, I could do this, and like letting it run away with him. I feel like he's being very calm and collected when it comes to his mindset. And yes, there's logic there, but I feel that the balance is not really talking about that so much, but more about the pace. There's no excitement, but there's optimism, right? And there's a difference between those two things, because excitement is suffering. Excitement is letting things run away with you, heavy breathing, heart racing, jumping into something headfirst without really thinking it through. He isn't doing that, right? There's no excitement, but there is a large amount of optimism that we see here with the Fire Prince. And the optimism and the balance and the meditation, the contemplation, it's all tying in to this very beautiful, I mean, this really is the perfect way to think and consider about and consider things, isn't it? Because it's calm, it's a little bit logical, it's very optimistic and positive, but it's calm and it's collected, and he's not letting it run off with him. Beautiful, really beautiful. Okay, so let's see what the feminine is doing within her mental space. I feel like it's going to be way more erratic. As a divine feminine myself, I'd be surprised if we don't see a little bit of crazy in there. Let's see. Oh, hello. Okay, all right. The crazy's going to come with the other decks, I'm sure. A time for healing, balsamic moon. So the feminine, I feel like she's having a break, right? It's not that she's not thinking at all, because obviously that's not possible, but I feel that the feminine is just like she's relaxing. She's just sort of chilling on this. She's there's a lot going on within her heart space. There's a lot of healing and acceptance and purge going on in here. There's a lot going on. So I feel that she's just focusing on what's right in front of her right now. I don't feel that she's really making any big plans for the future. I'm not saying she doesn't know what she wants, because that's definitely not true. There are a lot of feminines out there who know exactly what she wants. But she's not making moves towards them, and she's not really holding that within her mental space right now. She's just resting. She's resting and she's healing. She's allowing this process to go on. She's not hindering it by thinking about a load of other stuff that just doesn't matter right now. When we've got this kind of work going on, like under the surface, when we start thinking and worrying about the future and trying to plot and scheme for the future and trying to manifest stuff within the physical reality, like really hardcore, we interrupt this process. So the feminine is definitely in touch with herself to know that she needs to just relax and just take her time with things, relax her mind, just have fun, experience moments of joy, as many as she can. She's not working particularly hard, right? She's working, but she's not working hard. She's not like overworking herself. She's taking care of herself, I feel. Mind, body and soul, the holy trilogy, as it were. Now, yes, we have the Horse King. Assistance and control. Yeah, this is more of the same, right? She's she's actually drawing on the masculine's energy, right? As I said at the beginning, the masculine collective is leading the feminine collective. This is an example of that, right? We've just explored this mental space for the masculine, and we can see how it's spilling over now into the feminine. He's really leading her when it comes to thought. I mean, he's leading her with heart space too, right? He's had his epiphany. She's about to have hers within heart space. It may not translate into the conscious mind just yet. But for the feminine, she's got this very masculine kind of control, logic, this very calm, collected, again, like everything that we're seeing here, we're seeing it within the feminine, but we're seeing it in a less constructive way, in that the masculine is deliberately creating this energy so that he can think straight. The feminine is not. She's still under the influence of the same energy, but she's being led by it so that she can just relax, so that this can happen. So it's very important that the masculine's leading the feminine in this, because like I said, if she was if I was right in that moment about there being all kinds of crazy chaos going on in here, this just wouldn't be allowed to unfold. And then that would just prolong the entire process. I jest before you start writing in the comments that I'm like some kind of woman hater. I am a woman. I know I can be a little bit crazy, so I'm not hating on women, definitely not. I jest. I jest, that's all it is. Look, we have another. It's all air. I mean, you can hear me shuffling the deck, right? And you just saw me, like, they're all mixed up, right? You can see from the colours of them that they're all mixed up, right? We've got earth, spirit, water, spirit, fire, water, air, fire, right? They're all mixed up, and yet now four cards in a row have all come out from air. How wonderful is that? Go buy the deck. It works. But crazy, right? So dreams, right? Dreams, I mean, that speaks to mental space. I feel like the feminine is just kind of gently drifting off into these daydreams of the future and what she wants for herself. This is part of the healing process. This is where action, is born. You've got to have the idea before you can take action. Now as you all know, because I'm always banging on about this, but in the next couple of weeks, we move into the next energetic phase, which is a lot more, you got it, action orientated. End of April, beginning of May, that's when the new phase begins. So we can see there's like no action going on, right? There's nothing. I mean, we'll look at physical reality in a moment, but there is nothing going on. This is all going on the inside, and it's all very calm and relaxed. And it's all very inward, because even though the masculine and the feminine they're so in unison, and we can see that with these cards here. They're so in harmony with one another, and yet they're doing completely their own thing. They're doing this separately, right? They're doing the same thing at the same time, but they're doing it separately. So speaking of, let's do physical space. Let's see what's going on in the physical space for the masculine. What is going on in the physical reality right now for the masculine? Nothing. Right? Iceberg submerged, it's all frozen up. This is like winter solstice stuff, right? There is nothing going on. Everything is just in stasis, it's in pause, and this is good. This is required. And this is what we expect to see because of what I just said, right? We're not in the next phase yet. We've still got a couple of weeks at least to go before we start to see any kind of action, any moves happening, any changes happening within the physical reality. It's not meant to shift and change yet, but it will. The iceberg will melt, as it were, and we'll start to see waves of change again. But yeah, for the masculine, there's this pause button has been hit, and like I say, it's necessary so that this stuff can happen. When there's so much stuff going on in the physical reality, we get really distracted, and then it's difficult for us to go within because there's so much going on outside of ourselves. We get swept up in it, and we get tired, right? We've got these human bodies. Stress tires you out. Just being very active during the day, it tires us out, and then we have to sleep, and then we're back at it the next day because there's so much going on in the physical. We don't have time to sit and meditate. We don't have time to take care of ourselves. I mean, you should make time for these things, but sometimes when there's a lot of change going on, you have to step up and answer the call, right? And then you make time for yourself when you can. When things start to kind of die down a little bit. This is the nature of ebb and flow. We see this all the time in readings, that there's an ebb and a flow. This is how energy works. So let's see what the energy is doing within the physical reality. There doesn't have to be change going on for us to be able to read the energy. Staff stability, right? So that's what's going on for him. Even though there's no change going on, it's very stable. I say even though there isn't, because there is no change, things are very stable, which is giving him, it's like he has this staff, right? This magical staff. It's giving him control over his reality right now. It's giving him that steadfastness and that it's not the right word. It's kind of like reassurance in his own ability to to control his reality. Still, that's not really the right word. I hope you guys know what I'm kind of getting at here. Because the physical reality is not doing much for him right now, or it's doing a lot for him by doing nothing, but you know, because it's in this kind of stasis, that's given him all of the power that he needs to concentrate on himself, because he knows he has control over the physical reality because it's not really doing anything right now. So he's holding this staff, this magical ability to just concentrate on his thought, to allow his heart space just to continue to open and purge and have all of these beautiful ideas and desires that are translating into his thought space, into his mental space, so he can really think about what he wants for the future. This means, I mean, what we're seeing here is he is absolutely readying himself for the next energetic phase, whether he's consciously aware of what he's doing, whether he's into the witchy woo or not. This is what his energy is doing. So really, really great stuff. Let's draw. No, let's not. Let's. I think that's. I feel like that's it. You know, for the physical space. There's almost not much to report there. So, let's move into the feminine. Yes, the feminine. Oh my god, what am I trying to say? Physical space. That's the one. Physical space for the divine feminine. No, it's this one, yes. I was trying desperately to tuck it back into the deck and it just wouldn't go. Tree grounding. So we're seeing, again, the same energy. The feminine is really benefiting from the new moon in Taurus energy that we have right now. We're experiencing Taurus energy. As I said before, the new moon yesterday moved into it. Well, the new moon began in Aries, and after a couple of hours it moved into Taurus. So we've got both. We're benefiting from both Aries and Taurus energy. Again, if you haven't seen that reading, I recommend it because I think it will help to make sense of this stuff a little bit more. Let's make use of our room here, shall we? It's got everything all bunched up. It makes things a little bit easier to see. What's up? There we go. Yeah, so the feminine is really benefiting from the new moon Taurus energy. Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is seen as being stubborn by the other signs, but this is a common misinterpretation. Taurus isn't stubborn. Taurus is steadfast. Taurus has roots. Once Taurus plants his feet, he does not move. And that's viewed as being stubborn, like I say, by other signs, but this is actually a very powerful and positive trait, because once Taurus puts down his, like I say, his roots of, where he wants to live and what desire he wants to pursue and what career he wants to have, etc., he will really stick to his guns on that. And this is what the feminine is doing within her physical reality. She's got these roots down, she's like, this is where I'm at right now and this is where I'm sticking right now because I'm busy, right? There's all of this stuff going on within her heart space as we've explored. Therefore, there's not much going on in mental space for her because she's relaxing. She's just drifting into this beautiful, easy dream of what she wants in the future. Only then will this start to shift and change because she'll call for it. She'll call for the shift and the change. She'll uproot and then she'll put down her roots somewhere else. So right now, this is serving her extremely well. In much the same way that being a little iceberg in the physical space is serving the masculine extremely well. So last card then, let's see what else is going on in the physical reality for the feminine. Again, We've got awakening again. Awakening. Awakening, awakening, right? So, just, we've come full circle, haven't we? It's allowing, right, I'm also being shown, Aurora, my guide, has just piped up, and she's been here the whole time, but she hasn't said much because I think she's just let me channel on my own. But she's just pointed out as well that we're seeing a tree with its roots in the earth. So we're seeing like the element of Mother Nature here. We're seeing the divine feminine within Mother Nature, within this tree and this grounding. And I know I was referring to Taurus as he. Just, I don't know, it was just the pronoun I chose for what I was saying a minute ago, but I'm going to change it to she because we've got earth going on here and all this beautiful growth with these flowers and things. And Aurora's just pointed those things out to me, that there's a lot of growth going on. She's also just pointed out that there's a lot of green, like there's all these fields and hills and things going on in the background here with those. See that there's these mountains, and then there's all this greenery going on. So the masculine and the feminine, again, they are doing the same thing at the same time. It's a similar kind of energy. The only difference there is that the masculine's got this iceberg and the feminine's got all this beautiful greenery. The iceberg there is just a reflection really of the divine masculine energy in general. I'm not saying that men are closed off and cold. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that the divine masculine energy holds a role, and that is to be very calm and collected and logical. It's his job to bring desires into reality. For the feminine, that energy is the idea, right? It's her job to create the idea, is to be creative, to present that idea to the masculine. The masculine realizes it within the physical. So we see the feminine in the metaphysical and the masculine in the physical. So we have as above, so below. This is where this phrase comes from. So this is why we're seeing it depicted as an iceberg and a tree, right? Because that is the masculine and the feminine. And I mean, if the masculine and the feminine were to be an element of the earth in that way, that's what they'd be, right? They'd be ice and flowers. So that's why we're seeing it in this unfold in this way. So we're seeing, even though she's putting down all of these roots and things within the physical reality, so that things can be a bit more stable, so that she can have her healing and her awakening and such. Her awakening on both sides. There's like this fertility going on here. There's this space for growth within herself. So yeah, very, very beautiful healing growth energy, definitely. I mean, on both sides. So I hope that this reading serves you well, my lovelies. I hope it makes sense to you. By all means, go and check out the twin flame reading from last week. That might shed a little bit of light as to why we're at where we're at right now. Yeah, I will love and leave you. I will see you guys in the next stream, whenever that will be, question mark. I'm losing track of the days. But until then, remember that you are valued and you are important. And I will see you guys in the next one.